Somebody gonna tell me that it's time to go? I was expecting somebody to tell me it's time to go, but live from the NSF work truck at Starbase, on Starlink no less, it is time for the Flame Trench. We're going to talk about the flight, we're going to talk about the presentation, and let's roll the intro.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roger, Atlantis.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flighting downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
Orange 45. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This is meant to be exciting and clear, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Well. Look who they put in charge to host this again. Oh, this is going to be great. We got Das in the truck. Wait, who else do we got here? We got Ryan. I think Ryan's here too.
Might be here. Am I here? I don't know.
There we go.
I mean, I might be.
I hear
Here
Ryan.
Hi, everyone.
Now it's Marty. So, welcome to the Flame Trench, everybody. This is our weekly show where we kind of go off the rails and chaos kind of ensues, talking about spaceflight, talking about what's going on throughout the space programs all around the world every week. I'm EJ, your host. Once again, I'm going to make sure I do this right. I got Das over there.
Yeah,
I got
it's
Ryan
me over
there.
here.
All right. Yeah. Where are you, Das?
I'm at Starbase. I just pulled the work truck over onto one of our properties, and I set up the Starlink, and I put the phone in a little clamp on the handle for the truck here, and I'm on the show. Look at me. But did this say countdown to launch when we rolled the little stinger at the beginning? Did this say countdown to launch on the screen? Are we really counting down to launch already?
Hey.
Yeah, like 10. Yeah.
We'll figure out what we will.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will talk about when that countdown to launch
No.
actually.
We're counting down to Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is...
We should probably count down to launch
in a way.
because Mars goes around all the time, and we need to count down to the launch to go to Mars. Mars is always there. It's always there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as long as we're counting down to Flight 10, maybe we should recap and talk about Flight 9. Who wants that one? Ryan, are you taking this one?
I mean, we can all take this. I mean, it's just Starship. The Starship happened this week. I mean, what?
No big deal, right?
You know, a thing flew and a big update came out, so we're going to talk about both.
How would y'all know? You weren't here.
Sorry.
Excuse me for a second.
It was more directed towards EJ. Is that a second stage going behind EJ?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Bye. That's pretty good, right? Yeah. No, I wasn't there because I'm at McGregor or something.
What?
We're all getting derailed.
What time? I mean,
okay.
That's just a live camera behind you, right? Like that's the live McGregor West side. It used to be the west side, and we moved it to the east side, so now it's the west side. But it's live, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. And Das, and this is for everybody. I had some real life stuff to deal with, so I didn't make it down for Flight 9. But also,
I noticed. I missed you, EJ. I missed you.
9. Yeah. I appreciate that, I think. But also, I've been hearing nothing but, no, you can't go back. You can't go back down to Starbase again because Starbase actually got to orbit when you weren't there. It always gets to orbit when you're not there. Because the last 2 flights that I went down for, it blew up. I mean, this one kind of did too. Like, I don't know, but it made it to Seco. So I don't know if that counts. Like, I don't know. Apparently,
this one like sank into the swamp. It didn't burn down or fall over, but it did sink into the swamp in the end. So, yeah.
Yep. So that means the fourth one that will stay up, lad.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think EJ said that Starbase made it to orbit. Like at the Starship, I think, not Starbase. Chad is confused. Chad, Starbase did not make it to orbit. It was the ship that comes from Starbase.
Put words in my mouth, Eric Fraser. I see you over there.
Things. It's a rough start. Things happen. Anywho.
All right.
Anyways, the flight. Sorry, I jumped in.
The flight. Yeah, no, it's all good, man. It's all good. So Ryan, bring us up to speed. If you guys missed Flight 9, Ryan, let us tell us about it.
Well, pretty simple countdown as usual. Sometimes they don't have that good of a countdown, but pretty good countdown all the way down to their hold. They had 2 holds. Sounded like, I think one was for a booster engine, the other one was for cheap QD issue. But it didn't really matter. Eventually, it lifted off. It was like 6:36 and 30 seconds p.m. local is when it lifted off. I actually have to look to see. I don't remember the turnaround time for 14 off the top of my head, but maybe Alex will put it in the back channel right away. But of course, 14 lifts off once again. They reuse a booster right away. Ship 35 is on top. Of course, it's a new ship. They haven't gotten to reusing ships yet because they haven't gotten them into orbit or through reentry yet, but full stack flies, perfect descent, all engines running, which was really, really awesome to see, especially with 29 out of 33 reused engines. The new separation flip was really, really cool to see. I'm kind of glad that they're doing it in a specific way now, because the camera angle from the flip where it like flipped up was really, really cool. And we got the booster to end up, it didn't land. It did a high angle of attack reentry. And, we lost it, unfortunately. I would guess it's probably they warped some engines on their high angle of attack with higher heating, higher aerodynamic forces. They might have warped engines a little bit more, and when they went to start up, it went boom. Something like that. But here you can see it. It is so cool to just see L33 running. It's nice
wild,
not to see one out. I can't wait to see this on Block 3, which we'll talk about later, but I can't wait to see this on the next ship. Yeah, I guess, Doss, since you were there, you can talk about what it's like to see it again. So,
I mean, I was definitely there. We were running all over as we normally do. We got all the cameras set. We had the cameras at Danger Lot. We had them at Danger Dune. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, our 4 sites. We had everything like all over the map ready to capture the launch. It was tough this time, honestly, because SpaceX had us set up our equipment the morning of launch. It was an evening launch, like 6:30 p.m. window opens, right? And so they asked us to come and set up the Danger Lot stuff that morning at 7:30 a.m. So it's like roll out at 6 something, get the trailer hitched up, get it over, set it up on the Danger Lot, get all the other stuff set. We had to clear out by 11:30 a.m. It was like 10:30. We started clearing. 11:30 was like, all right, everybody be gone. And then the team on this side, Jerry and Dan and Max was over here as well. Caesar was here too at River and at the Rocket Ranch Outpost. They came over this way and got their stuff set, but we had to go, Gage and Dee and I had to go all the way around the ship channel over to the hotel and load in all of the equipment for the hotel like a couple hours before launch. So it was a challenge for the team this time because it was so like all condensed into one day, all the setups sort of in one day on the SpaceX side and at the hotel side. We were down a couple, like EJ wasn't here. We didn't have Gene here this time, so we were down a couple hands. So look, hey, it's my tracking rig on the roof of the hotel. Nice. But anyways, it was good. Like it went. There was a little bit of hesitation there because we got that 40-second hold, and when you're on the roof, we're sort of like waiting with bated breath. Is it going to go? Is it not going to go? I don't know. So there was a little suspense building there, right? But it wasn't bad, and then it went. We did see a little bit of an anomaly at liftoff. You said like a perfect liftoff, but we did get that weird green flash from that one engine at liftoff. I don't know if we have that frame that Max caught. But there was a green streak coming. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if we can enhance in on that, but you see that one green streak? But I talked to Max about it, and it was literally just a frame or two. it wasn't like that engine continued being green. So what caused that really obvious, it looks like a single engine to have that green plume? I don't know, but it cleared up. It was literally only visible in a couple of frames. So it was a couple milliseconds that this engine belched a little green, and then apparently ran normally, because when we were doing the tracking shots, looking up the tailpipe of the thing, all the engines were running, and they ran all the way out to the boost back. The boost back was really cool. If y'all remember, SpaceX said previously the boost back would just sort of like go in a random direction because they had all the hot staging ring holes open. And when the engines would fire into the hot staging ring, the force would sort of go in all directions, in the way that the booster went sort of like was almost randomized, right? And here they actually blocked off some of the hot staging ring holes so that most of the force would go. Well, I guess you should really say that there was one area that got less force, and so the booster sort of went away from. Is that another second stage going by? What the?
Yeah,
They're the same
We need to
one.
go back to EJ's screen real quick. Right, go back to EJ real quick. Look at this. What?
This is great.
It's just like
Don't ask
rush
why I'm
hour
moving
at
with the
McGregor right now.
This is
Hey,
awesome.
AJ, walk. Act like
This
you're
is
walking. Act like you're walking. The chair kind of ruins the illusion, honestly.
He just threw the chair out of the way.
Yeah.
EJ's like
Really
really
getting
big
work
compared to
out here.
that second stage.
Yeah, this is a Falcon 1 stage. You know, like that's what's going on.
You got that video game character kind of just like the constant. You know what I mean?
I'll just walk away.
Like you're walking one direction. The animation's messed up.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Oh, jeez. Y'all, if I'm hiccuping some, I'm on Starlink here. I just threw a Starlink outside of the truck. We do have a full-size Starlink. It's not a mini or anything. But I can tell my frames are hiccuping on my end a little bit. If y'all hear me hiccuping, it's, hashtag Starlink. That's hilarious that they're rolling 2 stages back like within rapid succession.
We're in a,
That's
it's the same one.
You flipped it.
Closer.
Did it just go in
Now stop
circles?
moving the camera, damn it! I'm trying to push this. This isn't working. I'm pinging the camera up, channel. Ruining my joke.
Okay, so it's not 2 different ones. It's the same one, and we had a longer shot of it, and then now we've switched. We had another camera when it passed closer. So it's not 2 different stages. It's the same stage from 2 different views. All right. Good deal.
No, was it the same stage?
Pizza said so. Pizza's pretty old.
Yeah, exactly. EJ's gonna get run over. Anyways,
Deja vu.
the flight was really cool. The booster flip, where the booster intentionally did the separation and then went nose up and did almost more of a Falcon 9 controlled boost back burn, where it went up and it did the
Really
up
cool.
sort of up of it. I could feel it, like when I was doing the tracking, because I'm using the big robotic tracking rig, right? I'm using an Xbox controller to track it, and the movements on the controller are really, right? You have to have really fine control over it. Yes, exactly like that. Mine is white digital camouflage, though. And so you have the thing where the booster's going up, like the full stack's going up, and you sort of are way up on the stick, and then it starts to go sideways, and you feel yourself sort of transition way to the side. And then from our perspective, it does an inversion, and it actually starts to go down again. Like from our perspective, it's going up, but from our perspective, it's going downrange. And so you have to transition the stick, and you have to start going. And then when the booster did the boost back burn, you had to invert the stick again. You had to go up again and then follow the booster back. And then it reached an apogee, and it started to go down again. So there was a lot of motion on the stick to try and keep the booster in frame. I told the ship, if you watch the Starbase summary from today, yesterday, in there, you can hear some of our back channel commentary. And if you listen to the ambient track where you have like our radio comms, you can hear us talking to each other during the launch and tracking. You'll hear me say something like, "I'm following the booster. The ship can do whatever." I just didn't care. I'm like, the booster, I want to see the booster do its thing, and the ship's just going to go downrange. So somewhere in that commentary track is not showing a lot of love to the ship itself. So anyways.
Not sure that's the first time that isn't the first time you said that. I'm pretty sure you said something like that before. I don't care about that. Booster,
Well, it's we've done it both ways. Like there was one launch where I think Jack tracked the booster and I tracked the ship. That might have been like 1 or 2 or something like that. And we just call it out loud. We're in CommsNet. We have like real-time radio comms with each other. And we make a plan in advance, but if we make an audible, like a call on the fly, we'll just say like, I've got the ship. And then Jack's like, I got the booster. And if you've seen Jack's footage of the FTS and the booster blowing up from that flight, it's because we made that audible call and we were communicating to each other in real time, like what the plan was and who had what. So anyways, yeah. It's good.
Hey, Jay, if you can go back, there's a couple of things. You go back to the separation, if you can. I just love, you can literally see it. So you get Miko, so most engines cut off, and then you see it split up. It's really, really cool the way it does it. It looks so cool.
That thing flips fast too.
Yeah, man.
Considering how tall that thing is, then the really cool thing coming up here, which I thought was a really, really cool shot. You see the ship all the way over there? At the bottom of the booster, you can see the ship still going off as the booster.
And then you can see the booster plowing away from the ship camera. Oh,
that's one of the two of the coolest shots ever. Love that.
It's pretty good.
That was really cool. It flipping back around. And then the anomaly is this. That looks like it might be my track there as it's coming back. It's either me or D. Maybe it's me or D or Max or somebody. I don't know. But it goes down, and the weather was not fantastic. Nice, clear blue skies above, but down close to the ground, we had a significant amount of haze, like actual just ground haze. So when the stack was on the pad, it was almost difficult to see. It was really sort of blurred out, and the contrast was sort of bad. And here, then it's falling out of this nice, perfect blue sky. You see these great vents happening. You can see the hot staging rings separate, and at some point, it's a little like highlighted in the venting. Right, there's a contrast showing the ring in the venting. But as the booster got closer to the ground again, it ended up in the haze, and without the engines running, that bright point of light to track, we sort of lost it in the haze. We couldn't see it anymore until it blew the heck up. Right.
Yeah,
which is going to come up here in a second.
Yeah,
I'm watching the video. I'm not gonna lie.
It's got to flip back down and then re-enter to its high angle of attack, which it kind of stinks we didn't have like a side shot of it, which would have been really, really hard to get considering where the booster currently is over the Gulf. But like a side shot would have probably shown a really cool angle of attack as it's coming in. I guess you can kind of see it here. It's a little bit more tipped.
You got the clouds in a second because there's like no context. Like, how fast is this thing moving? You don't know. And then it goes through the clouds. And when it goes through the clouds, you get some serious context. This thing was hauling the mail back down to the Earth.
I think it's around at least 7 minutes because it's still got to re-enter most of the way. It's a decent amount of
there.
Or there.
Yeah. That's
maybe it was 6 minutes actually.
I see the haze.
There's the haze, and then you'll see a poof right at landing burn. It ignites 12 of 13. You'll see it come up here. 12 of 13, and then it instantly just explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it goes.
Oh, yeah.
I would hazard a guess that something with that experimental reentry had to be at fault for that. I don't think it's... I think if the booster had done its normal stuff, I think it would have survived just fine. My guess is they either had some Raptor damage or something they didn't expect and they just lost it. I don't think it's really an issue.
Hold on. Consider this for a second. Let me get my super heavy model out.
Your visual aid.
Now, they did... Yeah, the visual aid. Here, Jay, full screen me for a second. Now, okay, so first of all, this is a way older version of Super Heavy, but bear with me. They did say in their update right before Flight 9 that they were going to try a higher angle of attack, a steeper angle of attack coming in, just so the booster could spend more time decelerating before they tried to do that crazy landing burn with, one engine out, et cetera, et cetera. Do you guys think that it was because, if you're coming in at a crazier angle of attack, that you might have some propellant feeding problems? Because you're coming down like this, not all your propellants are going to be all the way at the bottom of the vehicle. They're going to be kind of crooked to the side. Maybe some ullage ingestion happened there to cause the thing to pop. Certainly wouldn't be the first time in the Starship program, right?
It could have been on the inner ring at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know, like, from the telemetry on the screen? That's a good question, EJ, and I don't remember looking at this specifically. How much control did they have with the grid fins before they lit the engines? Like, did they try to straighten up that angle of attack using the grid fins before the engines lit? Was it in the middle of the maneuver? Was it still like flying at a high angle of attack when they lit the engine? So was the propellant a little off angle? Was the propellant sloshing or something because they had used the grid fins to straighten it up, and then it was still moving when the engines fired? I don't know if we could see that from the stream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus telemetry where it was just going like this.
Especially with the haze, it's kind of hard to tell if it straightens out or anything. But even a straightening out like that, you're going to slosh your propellants around.
Yep. Like if it was just the
baffles in there, though. They have a ton of baffles.
Well, what do you think happened?
What I think is they added more drag to it, so they had a little bit higher heating, and we've seen that those nozzles have been getting deformed. What I think happened is some of the inner nozzles got deformed, and when they went to relight it, the entire engine decided to end its existence. Basically, it rutted and took the booster with it.
So you think it was damage to an engine due to the drag or the heating or something like that?
Or something along those lines. That'd be my guess.
I'm going to watch on my bigger screen.
Damage the engines or the vehicle itself in some way where it resulted in the destruction of the vehicle.
Yeah, look at the high angle of attack. Like, it's almost at a 45-degree angle there, and it's getting more if the little telemetry is correct in the lower left-hand corner, right?
That telemetry is pretty accurate.
So,
like, the people have said it's not, but it actually kind of is.
Fellas, I was just the booster attitude indicator, far left, lower left corner of the screen. Watch that attitude indicator when
it literally goes
when they go to relight. The thing kind of flicks around a little.
It's like look at it from here. It's like more vertical here, and it's getting more sideways, right? If that's truly showing it, look at it. It's like a 30, a 40-degree angle. It's almost a 45-degree angle, and then you'll see all the engines light, like
dude.
Look at this. The dots come up. It's a 45-degree angle right now.
People can sit there and see header tanks, but also...
Well, the center engines would be fine. The three centers would be perfectly fine because that landing tank is isolated from the main, and it's pressurized differently from the main. So the three centers would be fine. It's that inner ring of 10 that are basically the sump of the locks. So if that LOX is flushing around a lot, and maybe it's not it could do that too.
It's sloshing.
Yeah.
I mean, not even sloshing. It's sitting sideways in that thing, man.
It
could be any number of things.
It was still looking like a pretty big angle of attack. Like, it wasn't that the booster straightened out and then they tried to light the engines. Like, it went all the way to 45, and then it was coming back. It was maybe 40, 35 degrees. I'm just guesstimating based on the little icon, right? But it was still at least a 30-degree angle, it looked like, whenever they lit the engine or lit the engines. And they held on for a second, and then it just went.
Yeah,
you're
changing the way it feeds at a crazy angle like that. You're not plumb with the force of gravity here.
Yeah,
and your deceleration is not plumb with the force of gravity either. So you run into a lot of fluid feed problems. But yeah, I mean, Brian, what you said, also coming in like that and spending more time flying in the atmosphere could increase the heating on the engines. That's your total period of heating is going to be higher flying further and flying longer in the atmosphere like that. your peak heating
Yeah.
overall would be lower, but total time of heating, it's like slow cooking versus flash frying, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's
It-
possible
Well,
that longer period of heating made the engines not happy.
Yeah, Linux Geeks in chat has a pretty good a comment here saying the angle doesn't matter. It's the normal force that matters. It's decelerating through the atmosphere, and the G's from the atmosphere are higher than the 1G from gravity. So it is a mix of forces, right? And do you have like it wouldn't be centrifugal force there, but you have water in a bucket that you swing around, and it's like, oh, the bucket's at an angle, but the water is still flat in the bottom of the bucket because of the force that's pushing it out, right? Different there because the booster wasn't spinning. That was the ship that was spinning. But was it this way? Was it that way? I think, EJ, if it has something to do with the propellant feeding, the more salient point might be the rate of change because it wasn't in sort of like a static, stable state. The attitude was actively changing, and that's when you start to get slosh, and that momentum of the propellant sloshing up against the baffles drives it to one side or the other versus the deceleration or the pull of gravity or whatever. It's that change in the fact that the booster is actually changing its orientation, and the booster's long too, right? Like it's not like it's just rotating around one little point. You get a rotation on that thing about its center of mass, which is closer to the bottom because of all the engines, right? But you do get a little bit of a lever arm sloshing that liquid around a little bit, right? So I guess we'll find out. Yeah.
What I was gonna say is if you want to pull it up here, this is from Ring over at Starbase Tracking. They've done renders, so you can see at the very bottom there, you can see like circular inlets all around. The pipes themselves are the methane supply, and the ring of openings at the bottom of the center structure there is the LOX inlets for the inner ring of 10. The inlets for the inner 3 are under the landing tank. So there wouldn't have to be a lot. I don't know how much prop is left when they do that 13-engine landing burn.
Yeah. Right. I feel like this illustration might not be showing all the baffling question mark.
There's baffles above it. There's baffles above it that go up and through the tank. There's as far as I understand, there's nothing that's actually at the bottom of the propellant lines itself. So
this is just all open down here, like pictured here, you think?
Other than there's probably filters on the LOX inlets that aren't on there, but yeah.
I guess we will find out. We do know that relative to the ship, I guess maybe we wouldn't find out from that because the FAA did require an investigation, but the investigation announcement, press release, whatever, specifically said it was relevant to the performance of the ship not being flown to orbit and recovered in the manner that they expected or planned. The booster was fine. If I'm not mistaken, that statement said, booster was cool. There wasn't anything about the experimental thing of the booster, so I wouldn't expect they would have to explain to the FAA, at least, in a document that would become public, is specifically what went wrong with the booster, right?
Yeah. I would think one of the exemptions for boosters if they have a Raptor-related rut on landing burn. I'd have to look back at the exemptions, but and if like something's along those lines, then they're fine, like on the landing bird. So that's why. So it's basically exempted. That. Of course, SpaceX will do their own investigation into why it happened, so that if they decide to do this kind of experiment again, say with maybe booster 15-2, it won't happen again, and they can actually get to the land. They can get through the landing burn. Otherwise, there is an investigation for the ship, which I guess is the next thing we should talk about. Is the ship went all the way to Seco and got past Seco finally? Breathe a sigh of relief. Although is it just me that it limped there? It felt like it limped to Seco, but I don't know if that's just me or not. But it got there because that's what counts. It got there, and then it spun out of control.
Did we compare the timings there, like the expected timing versus the actual timing? Did it run on a nominal time frame there? Did it run for longer or shorter or whatever? I've been out here in the field. I haven't had a chance to go back and look at it in that detail. Chad, have y'all looked at that? I'm curious.
I haven't noticed haven't noticed any difference. Everything seemed to be
Yeah.
on time, dude. But
Okay.
Maybe it's just a feeling for me. That's probably just my
Yeah.
feeling. You can just ignore it.
It might have just been that we all
no,
were
don't
like
lie. You wanted
not
it to pop, Brian.
not thinking it's going to make it to Seco, and so it was like there was more anticipation of it not making it to Seco versus if they had all made Seco, we'd just be like, yeah, what? It's going to make it to Seco like all the other ones did. Maybe there's a little bit of historical bias there in our thinking.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that bright flash from that LOX dump vent wasn't particularly encouraging. But
Yeah.
one way or the other, what happened is there seemed to have a stuck vent or RCS. Something was stuck open, is what it seems like, and the ship started to spin. And it just kind of kept spinning and spinning. They couldn't do they couldn't open the payload bay door. There could have been any number of reasons why. I still love Alex's joke. They it is a company they can make chopstick arms that catch these vehicles. Can't make a payload bay door that opens. It's just kind of funny. Who knows what the problems are?
It's like
I'm not gonna mesh.
full stage, full flow combustion. Can't make a garage door. Like,
Yeah.
don't need to hire some garage door tech, SpaceX. Like, your engine guys are great. You need to hire somebody that knows how to build a door.
Well, the thing is, dude, is like, how much experience does SpaceX have building payload bay doors versus rocket engines, right? Like, that proverbial skill tree is very low comparatively, right? They can build payload bay doors, they can build hatches, they can build spaceships, build rocket engines. Yeah, no, that's easy. The door, though, like,
They skipped it. They didn't use that tech. They just went right to the advanced engines, and they never did like the tier 1 and tier 2 tech.
They never went down the tech tree. Yeah.
They never went down the tech tree for payload bay door, but they will. They will. You guys will.
They're working on the R&D right now. They're right? Getting there. Yeah.
They're collecting science from around the mega bays. They're like taking the temperature and the barometric pressure. They're trying to get enough science points to figure out how to unlock the payload bay doors.
They're using the hovercraft to do it, man.
Hovercraft, nice.
They're using the hovercraft to do it. It's easy.
How many people have no clue what we're talking about? Like, in chat, how many people, raise your hand, have absolutely no clue what we're talking about right now?
Well, you got to go there, man.
I want to explain it to people. If they don't know, I want to explain it to them, I don't want to leave anybody out. I made an acronym video explaining things like I want them to know, so.
Yeah. We got a lot of hands up in Twitch chat, man.
Oh, okay. So difficulty on this little teeny tiny bender mouth, payload bay, Pez dispenser, teeny tiny door. What does this say about like HLS massive payload bay doors that can unload a rover on the moon or Mars? Are those doors easier to make because they're bigger? Or are they harder to make because it's just, the doors just swing open? You don't have to have a magazine system spitting payloads in or out, What do y'all think?
Oh, go ahead, Ryan. I have strong opinions, though.
Okay, I'll let you. Okay, for me, it's like maybe they just haven't focused a lot of their development energy on it yet. I mean, maybe it's just kind of one of those things that they're like, oh, we think it'll work, and it's not, and it's like, okay, we'll figure it out at some point. Because I mean, if we're going to be honest here, do they have to utterly figure it out at this point? I mean, they kind of need to, but up until now, not really. Is one of those things, but they should be able to open the door unless the spinning prevented them from doing something like that. Also, there seems to be a lot of FOD in there, but that's a whole other thing. That's a lot, and those aren't like small particles either.
The payload's not Starlinks. The payload was confetti. I saw somebody say. It's like, wait, what?
So sorry, Dave. I cannot do that. But yeah.
Did y'all hear the truck tell me to turn on my seatbelt? Y'all didn't hear the dinging of the truck when I had to turn the AC on. It's freaking toasty out here, so I turned the AC on for a minute, and I'll turn it back off again. But if you heard the truck bing bing, like telling me to put on my seatbelt, I'm parked right now doing the show.
I think chat would let you know.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Like, tap,
nobody.
Tap, maybe. Like...
They need to figure out how to open a door. But EJ, you have the floor on this one.
I think that Starship needs doors that open up like this. Not like this.
Hey,
Wait, what
No,
direction, EJ?
I want shuttle-style payload bay doors on Starship.
Oh.
Yeah, there I
speaking
said
of,
Okay.
speaking of which,
Yeah,
we'll talk about
we'll
that
get
later.
more into that later. I've been saying that. I've been saying that for a long time.
You mean like doors that open like the shuttle, not doors that roll up like a little garage door, a
Doors
little
that open
mouth
up
or
like
something?
This, or like
Okay.
this. Not like
Nice.
this.
Or
These are
just
not
a
the doors
little,
of
or a little
billionaire
like
goss.
eyebrow that just goes. It's literally all it is. It's like an eyebrow that opens, is what the Pez door is. It's kind of. I don't know.
No,
It's
I
curious
think-
that the opening of the door was the difficulty. Like I thought that the door was going to open and then the Starlinks were going to get like jammed up, right? Because it's one of those systems, and if they get a little bit cockeyed and they get sort of jammed in there, they're not going anywhere, and there's nothing you could do about it. But it's interesting that the door itself wouldn't open. It wasn't a failure with the dispenser getting jammed or anything. It was literally just the door didn't open, and you never even saw the dispenser do anything.
Which
They should
I
have just
wish
ran the
we had
dispenser and tried to bust the door open.
I
Just
wish-
like push the Starlink against the closed door and see if they could like open the door forcibly by pushing it with the Starlink.
I wish they had gotten to that point, because you don't know how long I've been waiting for them to test this Pez dispenser. It's like a work of art. It looks so cool. It's all like chains and electric drive, and it basically just electric drive chains just throws out the Starlings is all it does. And I can't wait for them to actually, hopefully next flight it works. Fix the door.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and then
I think. Okay.
It seems super complicated to
Right.
me. Like chains and moving parts, and you're getting rid of a tensioning arm and then spinning the whole thing to throw them off the top like they do with the Starlinks on Falcon 9 because the whole fairing opens up, right? Oh, I'm gone.
No, you're still here.
you're
Oh.
still here.
I had a Starlink hiccup where it looked like
You're-
everything froze. So anyways, sorry.
No, guys, I have a stupid theory. I'm putting it out there. I mean, pretty sure prior space programs in history has taught us to not have inward opening doors or hatches. Operative word there. I mean, it definitely looks like that payload. We've definitely seen in the past that the payload bay did retain some pressure when they did eventually get the door to open. But maybe that coupled with Starship kind of spinning out of control, bound up the door. You know, pretty sure like the shuttle has outward opening doors, and most spacecraft, you know, since 1968 have outward opening hatches for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just a
It's
theory.
interesting,
You know,
like
I was thinking like.
It's gonna be hilarious if everything just goes back to the way NASA did it. It's like fancy donut-shaped OLM. No, let's just build a mini SLS launch pad. Like fancy Pez dispenser doors. Nah, you just need shuttle-style doors because those work. Like they just keep going back to the way that things were done before instead of
Tricks are the best tricks,
single ways
man.
that they're trying to do it.
Hey, NASA invests a lot of money in that technology, and I'd prefer them to use it. You know, like somebody use it, please. You know, SpaceX, please use it.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
All right.
Anyway, before we get into talking about, you know, the presentation and stuff, I think Jay has a little bit of time here for a small segue here. What do you want to show us here? What is this?
Oh, we got stuff to show.
Oh, apparently Jay's like, oh, I got something to show. I'm like, okay, show it, man. Let's see what we got.
We're just gonna roll the whole thing. Yeah, we should just roll the whole thing. Nice.
We got our Hawaiian shirts made in the United States and tested the durability in the field at Starbase to ensure that you get quality product. So what we're actually doing, flying a kite. Look at that! That's amazing technology.
Well, look at your shirt and how well it held up.
Not a scratch. And quality Hawaiian shirt.
There's an outtake.
See if it's is it recording? It's recording. Nice.
So backstory is required. Ryan, EJ, had y'all seen that yet?
No.
I actually hadn't seen that yet. I've been.
Y'all hadn't seen that yet?
I got busy over the week, and then of course yesterday Elon decided to drop a whole thing, and I had to do a whole article. That was fun. But
so
anyways, yeah.
The backstory, right? TFR, can't fly a drone in a TFR, right? Doesn't matter with the drone, you just can't fly it. However, on the beach, you can fly kites. That's allowed. And you can put electronics on your kites. That's okay, as long as it stays below a certain total weight. So I did some research on kite aerial photography, and I put together that orange thing is what's called a picavet system, which is like this delightfully analog string, and not pulleys, but it's just a string system that keeps the little gondola level even then when the kite string is at a high angle, right? So that's like all analog. That little picavet system was really cool. I 3D printed it. I designed it on my CAD and like printed it up and made it and put some stainless steel hardware in it. And then to the bottom of that, I attached an old school DJI like Osmo Pocket 1, like an old camera I've had sitting around forever. And the combination of the Osmo Pocket gimbal and the picavet leveling system allowed us to get some footage like this. And it's actually 4K 60 FPS, so we can punch in on this and we can basically double the zoom on what you see here. But the whole rig, like the kite or the gondola, the picavet system, the string, the carabiners that hold it up, the camera itself, like the whole thing is like 210, 215 grams. It's like, it's not even a half pound, which is way under the limit. So you can put it on your kite and it's no big deal. TFR is not applicable to it because the mass is so low, right? So we were playing around. We got the kite. I don't know if you can see it from this, but the little piece of metal that keeps going into frame, that's like an emergency shock absorber system that sort of crosses over to try and if the kite hits the ground or the little gondola hits the ground, it hits the wire shock absorber system instead of just slamming the camera into the ground, right? We only put this up like 75, 100 feet or something like that. We didn't send it way up. We had like, 1,000 feet of line. But we did a test. I went down the beach up north a ways, like way away from the launch pad. I flew the kite alone. I figured out how it sort of handled and that sort of thing. And then I put the camera on the kite and I figured out how that sort of worked. And I did all this like downwind testing. And then we came over here and we were way back on the beach and we did a test there and made sure that worked. And then we put the kite up and we walked a little closer and we didn't have it aimed exactly right. And we had to debug the gimbal a little bit. And then finally, the last flight we did, we got it aimed just right. The gimbal stayed like in the horizon. That's every now and then, it jerks to the side and you get the production site in the background and the launch site in the foreground. But this was it was a fun engineering project. Clearly, we're not going to replace aerial photography or anything like this. This was almost like a fun challenge, like a problem-solving engineering, 3D printed parts, camera parts, the kite, the reel of the kite. The whole joke with the Hawaiian shirt was I needed gloves on, honestly, because that kite was pulling on that little reel that we had. It could carry a lot more than the payload we put on it. Let's put it that way, right? And so I was using the Hawaiian shirt as a friction brake. I was like pressing the reel onto my Hawaiian shirt, try and slow the reel down so that it would slowly let the kite out. Because I tried to do it with my thumbs for a little while, and my thumbs started to get hot. And I was like, this is probably not a great idea. Like, I shouldn't do this. But anyways, we've already got like a Mark II. We've got some more parts coming, some replacement stuff. This isn't even as high as it goes. We do take the safety very, very seriously, right? So even here, I set up the kite so that if the string broke or something, it wasn't going to go and boop the rocket. I was like flying tangentially off to one side, and the wind is sort of going from left to right here. And if the kite broke loose or something, it was going to go towards South Padre, not anywhere towards the pad or anything like that. But it was a fun project to make stuff, to get it out there, to learn a little bit, to troubleshoot some stuff, right? It's always a thing to troubleshoot and figure out things. But that was me out there on the beach the day before flight, the day before they actually launched it, playing around with the kite cam, seeing how that went. I think it went pretty good. Like, that's kind of cool.
Hey, Das,
Yes.
your nerd is showing right now.
Welcome to the
No,
nerd
that's super
zone.
cool, man.
It's like cool.
The pic of it's back at the bunkhouse. The whole system is like, it's delightfully analog, and it's the way that the strings are connected and they go through these little stainless steel eye bolts. And even when you change the ends of the string with no electronics, with no fancy counterweight springs or anything like that, that little picavette gondola thing stays level even when the string is totally unlevel. It's the coolest thing. I had no clue that was the thing. I love learning stuff like that. Whatever.
Super neat, man. Not a little nerdy. But then again, I'm not one
a
to
little
talk,
bit.
right? Like, that's
We're
super
going to get
cool,
some higher
dude.
test line. We have a bigger reel, and we ordered a reel that you actually have a strap that you put around your waist, right? And so you don't have to hold the reel like your waist holds the kite, like you're connected to the kite. And we're going to put some higher test string on it. So you just sort of sit there and the reel is on your waist. And then when you want to reel it in, you can actually reel it. We could not reel the reel. It was not possible. We didn't have a big enough lever arm on the reel to actually reel it in. We had to like manually do it like this to get it to reel in. It, like 5 minutes to run the kite up and like 30 minutes to reel the kite back in because we couldn't actually reel it. It was pulling on the reel so hard. Anyways, chat,
Oof.
thank you for supporting our wacky ideas. That is one of our wacky ideas. It's a lot of fun as well. We're serious about it. We want to be safe about it, but it's also kind of cool to have a little aerial camera up there. Back to you.
Jeez.
So Starship.
No, that's,
See,
yeah.
that's good.
a fishing no I'm going to talk to chat. This is a kite show now. A fishing rod wouldn't work because think about how small the lever arm on the fishing rod is, right? You need a larger lever arm for the center axle out to where your crank is. You need like a big lever arm to reel the kite in. I need a scale. I want to put a scale on the thing and figure out how hard the kite is pulling, because the payload was 215 grams or so, and it was, I think it was like 25 miles an hour winds or something. It was, if you put that kite on a small child or a small dog, I think it would pick them up off the ground. So
I don't think we should test that though. Like,
NASASpaceflight not responsible, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, now wait, we don't
Yeah.
sell the kite, do we?
Yeah.
We
No,
don't sell the
Spicer,
kite,
no,
I
we're
mean.
talking about kites. I told you this is a kite show now. So
All right. All right. Are kites just
Anyways.
analog drones?
Sure.
No.
technically, no.
Right,
According to the FAA,
I
they're
hate
not.
you.
According to the FAA, they're not. They're not aerostats. They're not
All
balloons.
right.
They're not any of those things. It's just a kite, and as long
So
as it's light
legally.
enough, it's just a kite. Yeah, legally, it does. All the exclusions and stuff like that don't apply to it.
Crazy.
Anyways, what else are we supposed
All right.
to talk about? I just want to go
All
get the
right,
kite
well,
now
I'm
and
gonna-
show
I'm gonna-
y'all how the kite works.
Dude, do you have it with you?
It's all the way back in the bunkhouse. No, I should put my phone on the
Oh,
kite,
that
and then
would've
we
been
could just
mint.
have a live feed from my phone. Would just run the phone up the kite. Oh, we could totally
Dude,
do
missed
that
opportunity. Come on now.
Here we go. Next week.
on the flame trench. It's like live from the kite, and it's here at the beginning, and I'm in frame, and then I start letting it out, and the phone like starts going up off the ground. Okay.
Oh dear.
Anyways, Philip Whitehouse
Okay.
did 40 pounds in super chat,
Yep.
saying 4 years,
Yep.
9 months ago in the NSF Discord, I suggested kite cam as a crazy cursed idea that might fit in the FAA regulations. Here's some more money for the next cursed idea. Philip, thank you for the the super chat there. That's awesome.
And as long as we're going through support, dude, Space Pope had $50 in there to bless this trench. So thank you, Space Pope.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh,
Orbitus
Pope
external
noise.
tankus SRB
Yeah.
or
whoever chose
something.
that Pope noise has like never been in a church before, I think. But anyways,
It's all right.
it's the Flame Prince. It's off the rails. Aren't we supposed to talk about other topics?
I mean, we talk
mean-
about that the ship did an uncontrolled reentry.
All right, let's talk about
Yeah.
that.
That's the next step.
we could get to the ship part. So, Ryan, they had a leak, huh?
It seemed like it, and then they lost all RCS, so they lost control because your RCS is RCS is how I'm going to put it. Is your tank vents based off your ullage, and when you lose your ullage, you lose your control. So not only when you lose your ullage do you lose engine control, you also lose RCS. So you lose all control of your vehicle. And at that point, it's just re-entering.
Yeah,
And it re-entered
And
uncontrolled,
it had that spin too. Like it looked
like Flight 3.
it wasn't an engine flame out that made it spin. It was like a leak that exerted a force on it that got it going at a pretty good rate.
Yeah, it was spinning pretty good. And then, of course, even once the leak stops, well, you can't correct for it because that leak literally took care of your RCS system. So
Yep.
they just tumbled and re-entered tumbling. They probably stabilized at some point in through the atmosphere because eventually the atmosphere is going to somewhat stabilize it, but it didn't really matter at that point because of the new placement of the Starlink antennas. Because if you remember on Flight 3, we lost telemetry. We didn't get really any good pictures of it after a bit because that had all 4 antennas on the nose. This one's got 2 antennas on the leeward side and one on the port side, one on the starboard side. So it had better Starlink connection. So we actually got to see one of the flaps half melted off, one of the aft flaps. So that was kind of cool.
It like crumpled all of a sudden, didn't it?
Yeah, crumpled, melted. So I mean, they got some data for reentry, but not really a lot of good useful heat shield data because it's not controlled. It's not in the right orientation. There's a whole set of reasons why it wouldn't really be that great of data for it. So, and because of that, because it was an uncontrolled reentry, yes, it was lost during reentry, and yes, that is an exception. However, it has to be a controlled reentry loss. So, like if they had if they re-entered controlled and they lost it due to the heat shield experiments, that would not have triggered a mishap investigation. But the failure was because they had a failure to complete reentry according to the launch license. Is what basically it was. So it was uncontrolled, and that's why there's a mishap investigation. I know a lot of people have been asking about that. That's why. So
there is.
There is a mishap investigation. It was revealed. FAA announced today. So
Yep. The standard. We're aware of the anomaly. Yada yada yada. We'll work with SpaceX. Blah 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 blah. But the same as before. Like it didn't even come close to the plan. It wasn't like, oh, we're testing the heat shield and the heat shield failed, so that's sort of like in the plan. It didn't come anywhere close to the plan. It was tumbling out of control completely. So Ryan, like you said, not great data on the heat shield there because of the tumbling. That's not a nominal reentry, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Starlink connection was very impressive.
Yeah. So when I look at the flight as a whole. And I look at it as in 2 parts at this point when I look at Flight 9. When I look at the booster success, you got ascent, all engines running, boost back, all engines running on boost back. It blew up on the landing burn, but I mean, we were kind of expecting possibly something. They were trying to experiment with it. But your first ever reflight of a super heavy booster is a success. That's a huge win for the program at large. And then you get to ship. Well, yes, it did make it past SECO. Your objectives for this ship for the last 3 flights have been to test all of your experiments on the heat shield design, to deploy your sim links, to do your engine relight with the new plumbing, and to test the new flaps and everything in heat shield. They didn't do any of that. To me, and DJ probably disagrees with me. I don't know about you, Das. I consider the ship a failure. You made it to Seco, but everything else is a failure. You didn't accomplish your full objectives. I consider the ship a failure and the booster a success. That's how I look at it. But I guarantee I know there's going to be a bunch of people who disagree with me. So
I don't know, EJ. What do you think? How do you classify it?
Okay, here I know a lot of people are going to think I'm reaching on this. Just bear with me here, okay? I would say that I would agree, Ryan, that the booster. I mean, the ship didn't meet its objectives. The booster came pretty close to meeting all test objectives, right? But that's how you got to look at it. You got to look at it meeting. I think you got to look at it as meeting test objective versus not a pass or a fail, not success or failure. When you're doing an iterative type of design, the only failure that you're going to have is one that you don't learn anything from. And I know that sounds ridiculous, right? I get feeling I'm like, oh yeah, okay, man. No, it's true. With the way that SpaceX does things, they're more likely to just send it. And if you learn something from it, great. If you don't learn, the only real trouble is if you didn't learn anything from it. So, what'd you learn from this one? Well, you learned a good way to get the spaceship into space, but you still didn't solve those leak problems. So you got to figure out a way to do that. But you figured out a way how not to re-enter the Starship, which is pretty cool. Pretty sure they already kind of knew not to enter it at first.
They already knew it shouldn't spin uncontrollably during re-entry. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, good learning.
But you figured out that doesn't work with Block 2 as well.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Don't have a hole in the tank. Yeah, that's good. Good advice, EJ. Good advice. Don't spring a leak.
Yeah.
Write that down, SpaceX, for future missions.
Yeah, remember that one. Actually, when we get into talking about the Elon presentation a little bit later, I want you guys to remember this leaking part. Remember this conversation, all right? Just remember it, okay? For later. All right. Like I said,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Das.
No, finish yours up, then I'll give my assessment.
Okay. So once again, it might seem like, oh yeah, okay, man, yeah, look, you got a SpaceX shirt on. Of course, you're going to say that. No, the thing freaking blew up. It re-entered backwards. Pretty sure you don't want that. Pretty sure you don't want that.
Not ideal.
Not great, But this does feed into a whole kind of bigger theory that I have going on with SpaceX. And keep in mind, I am just some guy with a SpaceX shirt on, right? I ain't no rocket scientist, but I do think that, and especially think about this when we're talking about the Elon presentation in a little bit, dudes. I think that these ships, Ryan, you often have talked in the past about how boosters are taking up space and how this is taking up space and I believe it or not, I disagreed. I was like, if they wanted another stand, they would build it. If they wanted another stand for this, they would just build it. Well, I honestly think that they're vacating space for Block 3 stuff, especially given the presentation that Elon and SpaceX kind of gave yesterday. Once again, think about this when we're talking about it, right? I think they're getting rid of this hardware, just trying to get some flight data, because the fixes for these leaks, the fixes for, the hot staging ring, obviously, that is all coming down the pipe. It's in production. It's in work. It just hasn't gotten to the end of the proverbial assembly line at Star Factory, right? So I think SpaceX is launching these boosters knowing they carry a high rate of risk, and that's why we're seeing mitigations to these problems instead of outright fixes. I don't know, just something to noodle on, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, Das, what do you think?
From my perspective, it was pretty clearly a partial failure, right? They did get it to Seco, past Seco. Whatever they did, whether it was a stopgap mitigation or a real solution or just, we just got to fly this one until we get to better Raptor 3s or whatever, right? Whatever they did, unequivocally, it made Seco. You can't argue with that. So that part was a success. Whether it was a final end-all be-all solution or not, you don't know. SpaceX probably knows, but we don't know. But that part was a success. But then the payload deploy, the reentry data, maintaining control during reentry, how did the heat shield work? All of those things, all those tests failed. And did they fail because of like a cascading failure? Like there was the leak and it spun out of control. So the payload bay door would have worked if it wasn't spinning out of control. And the reentry would have worked if it wasn't spinning out of control, right? I don't know that you could say each one of those specifically failed its unit test, because there was a situation that occurred before they got to that test that may have kept everything else from being successful down the road. But because that happened, there's not really a world where you can say it wasn't at least a partial failure, right? Because those things did fail. They didn't get all the information. But it made it to SEGO unequivocally. Like, can't argue that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's why I say didn't meet your test objectives rather than failure, because the way they're iterating, I'm not going to try to like bury my head in the dunes right out by the pad and be like, no, it's everything's fine, everything's fine.
You would probably die if you tried that during launch. Yeah,
I mean, I'm just making EJ DeShetler cam. And I'll just hide in the box. Nothing bad will happen.
You need a big buffer tank so that as you get hit by the pressure waves, it damps out the pressure in whatever hermetically sealed container you're in. Be underground a ways. I feel like the ground would be a good thing. Let's not solve this problem. I don't want to have anything alive.
Das is starting to think about solving this problem. It's probably not a problem we want to solve.
We're gonna fill the container. There's a shell filled with water, and we're just gonna let that water flash to steam and evacuate during the. No, we're not solving that. NASASpaceflight not responsible. Okay.
Yeah, we're not responsible. Do not go violate the roadblock. That would be a very.
In all seriousness, that would be a very, very bad idea. Yeah.
I was going to say, we can do this segue if we want to. We think we're good with speaking of solving problems. We're solving a lot of problems with a next generation.
How's the next flight? Like, do we think this is a really easy anomaly investigation? And do we think, I guess this is sort of the segue to the presentation, are we going to fly again in a couple weeks or what? Like,
I think so.
I say early July. I don't think this one will take that long. And please just get to reentry controlled.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's getting to that point is what it feels like. And not only that, if they really want to meet their lofty goals that they talked about in this presentation, they kind of need to get to this reentry and get to reusing these ships.
Yeah,
because they got a lot to meet. There's a lot on the line here.
Mm-hmm. Like all of these things have to be resolved before you go to Mars.
Yeah,
right. Even with robots on board, you have to resolve all these things, right?
There's a whole laundry list of items that SpaceX still has to do in order to make it there. And we'll just make it the segue here. I mean, a lot of the problems and a lot of the inefficiency are going to get solved with their next generation vehicle, I guess, or you want to call it Block 3. We can call it one of the two. Next generation / Block 3, whatever, or version 3, whatever you want to call it. I mean, at this point, ship's gonna so I will actually point something out right away.
Right.
The ship height number for Flight 9 is wrong. Because Block 2 is higher than that. Block 2 is actually 52.1 meters, not 50.3. That's Block 1. Is there missing a ring? But
whoops.
Yeah, whoops. And the total height is I think 123.1 or something like that. But either way, it's not the right one. There's a little bit of whoops. Either way.
Yeah, whatever.
Block 3 ship is basically going to be a Block 2 with a lot of improvements and upgrades. It's going to have a changed ship QD. All of it's going to Raptor 3. It's not going to have 9 engines right away. It's going to stick with 6, which I think they're just true. I think they want to prove design before they stick another 3 RVACs on the thing. At this point, they've been having a lot of issues. I think they want to wait before they stick another 3 engines under that thing. We're gonna have docking hardware on this thing. They're using the good. They're using the tried and true. Well, it looks like they're using the tried and true method of probe and drogue. Based off that animation, it looks like a probe and drogue system. Like we've been, like Soyuz has been using for, I don't know, centuries. It feels like at this point, and then
Centuries.
Half
No,
century.
it's not. It's been using it for what, like 60, 70 years at this point. It's been using it for a while.
Yeah.
1966, dude.
Yeah.
So
And
half century.
the Apollo command module use it to dock with the LEM, and probe and drogue is used in a lot of other applications too. But there looks like they're using that. Yeah, ship's going to get some upgrades in here and there, but it's booster where everything really shines. Booster sticking with 33 engines. It's not going to be 35. Anyone who thought there's going to be 35, not happening. The only reason
Should we just go through the
says
slides?
Should we
Should we just? I think we have all the slides, don't we? Should we just go and talk about
we
each
have all the
point in order
slides?
to make sure we don't miss anything?
Might as well.
I'm in.
Hey, here you go.
I think we have that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a bunch. Yeah. So here's booster.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do. Like, I'm confused. Like, if we start jumping around too much, I feel like we're gonna miss something. So maybe that's a good way to go through it. You know. But keep going, Ryan.
Okay, Jay. Okay. So, well, I'll just kind of talk about, just general. So here we've got Gigabay, Texas. So right at the top. Two massive doors facing Highway 4. It's going to be right in between the parking lot and Star Factory.
It's awesome.
Where we can see them digging up a bunch of material right now, even on our camera at the production site. Produce 1,000 Starships per year. We'll see how close they get to that one. I think that number's more of a combined of both factories and both bays at Roberts Road and Texas. Maybe that's just me. That's a lot. That's a lot, but we'll see. They compare that to how many planes Boeing and Airbus builds. He likes to make the comparison to how many B-24s were built in a single year during World War II. It's almost 7,000 in a single year. That was the Willow Run plant, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
Right?
Baby.
Yeah. And
Ford operated
1,000.
that plant.
Yeah.
Just saying. First on race day.
Five. But 5,000 Starlinks is a lot too to make. Like it's a lot of satellites to make in a single year. Okay. If you can make it, if you can try it, you know.
Starlinks. You said Star. Are you talking about Starships or Starlinks?
5,000 Starlink sats in a year, apparently, and 1,000 Starships in a year. That's the production rate SpaceX wants.
Yeah. I can believe 5,000 Starlink sats. That doesn't seem that difficult. 1,000 Starships, they ain't got room for 1,000 Starships. You got three rolling off the line every day. Where the heck are you going to put those things? Like, you have to be launching them because you do not have room to store them anywhere on the ground. I don't care how many facilities you have. Like, you have to put them in space.
Because there's a lot of it.
Because there's a lot of it. Nice.
Dude, I think it's very interesting that this isn't the first SpaceX presentation where we've seen them reference the B-24. I just want to call attention to that real quick. From 1943 to 1945, the Willow Run plant in Ypsi in Michigan cranked out 6,900 planes. That is ridiculous. And I think that somewhere they keep referencing that. Elon keeps talking about that. SpaceX keeps talking about that. I think he looked at that and said, we got to do that with Starships. Like, and then they were like, maybe no. And he's like, oh, all right, well, still got to do a lot of Starships, you know? Like they always put that in there because I think that's like the quickest form of mass production of any aircraft ever. It's just super interesting. It's super cool.
It's like such a weird comparison though, because the aircraft is not. It's like an order of magnitude or two smaller than the Starship, right? So, like, I could see lots of aircraft being produced. I can see lots of cars being produced, that sort of stuff. But Starship is like a skyscraper, right? Like how. Yeah. It's a weird comparison. Like the comparison doesn't really. Yeah, but it's not the size of a Starship. It's not even close.
And then you're comparing it to Tesla at 1.7 million. The comparison is it's whatever. The only real comparison I would say to is Boeing and Airbus with planes. But here's the other part to that too is Starship. While yes, it's a rocket, it's mostly empty space. You're not including for those planes the fact that you have to put in the amount of wiring harnesses, the amount of control cables or control stuff, all the flight controls that have to go in it, and then the interior work that has to get done in it.
The climate systems, the seats and interiors, the electronics, like the entertainment systems and communication systems, like all of the things that I feel like a 747 is probably more complicated than a Starship. Would y'all agree or disagree that a 747 or a A380 or something is more complicated than a Starship?
In its current form, yeah, probably, yeah, absolutely.
DJ, you mean like go Ryan?
I was going to say the only way I think Starship eventually gets more complicated is once you get to the ones that go to Mars, the ones where you need the ecosystems that you have to put in there. That's when I think it gets more complicated. But right now, no, a 747 is far more complicated than a Starship.
But then again,
what you have to put into it.
But then again, propulsion is the most complicated part. I mean, Ryan, there's no doubt, like, if you're taking apart a CFM56, that's, like, a little bit easier than trying to replace, like, the batteries on an airplane or an APU or something. That's by far and away the most complicated piece. And Starship does have more of those than a 747 or a 737, right? Like, I mean, I don't know, something to consider now that I'm really thinking about it.
Yeah, but they just put in 33 of them, or they put in 6 of them.
Just install them.
The piping is complicated, but it's not a lot of different systems, right? It's the same system that you've installed a lot of instances of versus there are 50 totally different systems unrelated to each other as opposed to 50 instances of the same thing with a little bit different piping. It could go either way.
Yeah, I'm
not,
picking up what you're laying down.
Winning points one way or the other, it doesn't really matter. For me, there's a mass thing as well, like how big it is. Like, comparing it to a car, clearly you should be able to build more cars than Starships because Starships are freaking huge and cars are not freaking huge, right? We build lots of cars. We have lots of space to put lots of cars. They don't take up much space. Starships are a little bit of a different animal there.
If I were to say it, I gotta remember off the top of my head here. Trying to remember how many bolts are on the inlet, but there's probably about 36 bolts on the inlet to take the inlet off of a CFM56. And you got to take the two side fan cowls off plus the thumbnail. There's 8 attachment bolts and probably 12 connections to it. And then you got an engine off. And there's a little bit less on a Raptor.
Are you talking about the Raptor? Or are you talking about a jet engine, right?
A CFM 56-7 off of 737. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I've taken them off before, so I'm trying to think in my head and remember exactly how much stuff there is to go along with it. But there's a little bit more to take off than it is with a Raptor engine, for at least with current gen vehicles, because they're going to get rid of a ton of shielding, which we can go about when we talk about that.
Yeah.
Trying to take all the shielding off looks like a whole lot of fun right now.
The biggest limiting factor is where the heck you're going to put the things, right? Like, if you're just cranking out 3 Starships a day, it would look hilarious around here. If you weren't launching, even if you weren't launching all 3 of them every day, it would still look hilarious around Starbase after like a month. And there's just 30 Starships like down the side of Highway 4, just like, there's no room to park them. We're just putting them on the side of the road. Like,
you don't want this, or
it would be hilarious. I'm all for it. But why build them if they're just going to sit out on Boca Chica Beach for like months until you can get the flight cadence up? That doesn't sound like a great use of time.
Boeing had no problem doing that with 737s. Just putting it out there.
Less on the beach, though, where they rapidly fall apart, right? Like, mostly all of my equipment out here falls apart. You should see the trailer over here. Like, let me tell you about the trailer. Can we see the trailer? Yes. There. The trailer. That thing is falling apart. It is being held together by mostly rust right now.
Hey, I fixed some of that.
There. You want me to take the phone over there and let you see your handiwork?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, dude, let's do it. Let's see the bracket.
Dude. It's so toast.
gone?
It's like the bracket's not bad.
Are
The
you
bracket was a big thick
serious?
thing we just bolted on there. It's
I was
toast,
gonna
dude.
say, man,
EJ,
that
I'll
thing
take the
was
camera.
hefty.
For members, like
Do it.
when we're done with the main show, I'll take the phone over and I'll
okay.
show you the poor trailer. The doors have all rusted off, like the galvanized doors. Those things are freaking toast. The locks have rusted out. We had to replace a bunch of the locks. Like just everything is just rusting off of that trailer. And a Starship like this trailer. Honestly, SpaceX, if you want to use this trailer as a Starship payload, you're welcome to. Like, if you want to put it on a Starship and fly it to the moon and roll it out in your little elevator and, like, put it on the surface of the moon, it's yours. You can have it. Send it. I don't care.
What?
Well, do we want
Where did that come from?
I was
keep going? with this?
offering the trailer as a payload. Let's talk about the
Yeah, I
presentation.
would
Let's
love
go through
to.
the
That'd be
presentation
cool.
slides. Gotta
Okay.
turn the air conditioning on again.
Anyway, I the build comparison is just kind of, yeah. So SpaceX is going through talking about the reuse of their stuff. They show a slide of what was it? One of them is stage separation right there,
Oh,
which was a nice one. I don't remember which. That's definitely a Block 2 flight. It might be 34 or 33. I actually don't
it's
remember
flight
which one
7,
that is.
dude. 7 flipped up. Remember?
Yeah, right. It's so yeah, and then they showed an animation of a ship catch. You got a slide here of the ship coming down.
Dude,
With
that's so good.
it's really
That's
cool.
gonna be a thing when that happens.
Oh, it's gonna
gonna
be
be
a thing.
legit.
I hope it's a perfectly clear day and you just look out and you see it just see that. The boosters caught on they may catch the booster at pad A or boosters on a transport stand off to the side and the ship is caught right there or something like that. That'll be a sight to see.
That's
gonna
I
be wild.
will bend over backwards to be here. I got to plug my laptop in, y'all. I will bend over backwards to be here for that because everybody is going to be looking up at the sky trying to find the Starship. And at some point, it's going to become visible and people are going to lose their minds. Like, absolutely lose their minds.
It's like
Guilty.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to try to be there for that. I want to try. Hopefully it's maybe ship 37, 38, maybe, or unless they wait till Block 3 to do it. But and then what's going to power the new ships and boosters, I should say, is Raptor 3. And look at that. We got look how
Oh,
beautiful that engine is. It's
Yeah.
dude. Ryan, I was saying this over on Twitch chat. So
Yeah.
that picture looks like an AI generated picture, but we know for a fact that it's definitely not. But it still looks fake. But that's like actually real. That's a real picture, which is just
so many Raptors. There's a lot of Raptors.
Yeah, that's a lot
dude,
of Raptors in the
look at
background there.
them. And they got them nice. They got them in nice rows, so you can go around and shop around for the Raptor 2 that best suits your needs. It's all
It's
nice
like a
rows.
Christmas
It's
tree.
great.
This one's nice and full. It's got good plumbing, branches, whatever. This one's a little scrawny on this side. It's
I
not
mean-
very straight. Like,
With Booster 18 being the new Block 3, and Ship 39 likely being the first Block 3 ship, they only need Raptor 2s for Booster 16, which it should already have them all. 15-2 probably already has them all again, which means they need backups for those, plus 17 if they end up trying to fly it, and then for 37 and 38. And that's it. And they might have
So
a
how-
bunch of extras lying around, which, by the way, SpaceX, if you got some R2s lying around, take one off your hands. Anyways, right? Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
no, I'm
Stick it right
for
behind,
once I am
yeah.
100% agreeing with you. Yeah, we should. Yeah, I'll take one.
Yeah.
how
I mean, if you
how
get rid of
tall are
them.
they? Will they fit in my garage? Like a regular size
fit in my
garage
garage.
door? Will they roll in?
Yeah, maybe.
I think the center will. I don't know about the RVAC, but
Can I pick it up with a
Probably
pallet
not.
jack, or do you need a forklift? Like,
It
those
looks like
are-
either one.
ooh, I'm trying to remember how much a Raptor weighs. I think a Raptor weighs I think the R2s are 1.5 tons. I think R2 is.
Oh, that'd be fine then.
So
R1,
R3 is probably a little bit less with a little bit less stuff on it. So
look at Raptor 3 serial number 6 right there. Look at the pallet that it's on. It has rooms for forklift forks and it has rooms for it has room for pallet jacks.
There
so
you
it
go.
could clearly do either one. I'm just saying, boys. Our back would fit.
In chat, a little bit of confusion about what's on the screen. The number 6 engine there is a Raptor 3. The one on the left is a Raptor vacuum, right?
Yep.
Raptor 3 vacuum. So they're both R3s.
It's a Raptor 3 vacuum. So that's not like Raptor 2 on the left-hand side and Raptor 3 on the right-hand side. They're both Raptor 3s. One is vacuum optimized with the bigger engine bell, and one is sea level optimized with the smaller engine bell. That's not Raptor 2 versus Raptor 3 in that shot right there.
The Raptor 2s are in the
question
background.
Scroll through chat about it. Yeah. The 2s are in the background,
There's going to be no mix and match. It's once they go to block 3, it's all Raptor 3. And And that basically SpaceX is what they're trying to do with the next generation vehicles. And as we go forward in this, they are trying to go from their somewhat prototype phase to try to get into a more operational stance. They're getting to a vehicle that can get them to the moon and Mars with an engine that can get them there. That's what they're trying to do with all this, and that looks.
I really appreciate what you're showing me right now.
This is interesting statistics on this one because they said more than 300 engine tests and more than 16,000 seconds of runtime on Raptor 3. I guess this is about Raptor 3 because the header says Raptor 3, right? But we have McGregor live, and we thought we had captured more than that. So I don't know if this is an old number that wasn't updated like immediately before the presentation. Even then, it wouldn't be like double or anything like that. But our McGregor live stream, we keep track of which stand has which types of engines on it, and then we have like a little database behind it because we pull all the videos and we keep track of all that stuff. And we thought we've seen a lot more than 300 Raptor 3 engine tests out at McGregor because they test stuff all the time out there at McGregor. But I didn't
say more than 300, but more,
Well, you guys, you know what's crazy? Like, I mean, I'm not going to make Jay go back through the slides, but if you guys do go watch this presentation, even the B-roll, the SpaceX B-roll that they have at the beginning of the presentation where they're talking about, oh, well, this is Starbase now. This is what it was. This is what it now. Even the quote-unquote updated footage is way out of date because it still shows the old Star Factory with that angle on it before they, put it, got it down for the Gigabay. And High Bay 1 is still there. Like, even their own promo footage is out of date.
It's old news,
Like, it's crazy to me, man. Like, they filmed it maybe a month ago, maybe, and like, no,
they can't even totally keep up with themselves. Like,
right? It's pretty cool.
Cool.
So, as we go down the list, as I was talking about earlier, we've got propellant transfer. So I can't wait for this to happen. This is gonna video of this, like from either one of the ships, is gonna be nuts. I want an outside shot, but I don't know how.
Yes,
to do it.
Yes, they need a rover. They need like a deployable satellite cam that they deploy, and it flies away and it shows the two starships from like a third-person perspective in space. That should be a thing.
So they did. All I'm saying, boys, is that they did that during the shuttle program. Yep, the SPAS program.
With the arm?
Who knows? No, they had a little probe, RCS-powered probe that was made by Messerschmitt, believe it or not. Messerschmitt Volkov Blum. They picked it up out of the payload bay, let it go, and it maneuvered away from the shuttle and took pictures of it from a long way away, and then it maneuvered back, and they grabbed it with the arm and put it back in the payload bay.
I think SpaceX.
We need that.
That's what we need. Please do this.
That should be a thing.
You know, Das, you were saying they were taking all the idea. Like, please take that idea. Please take that idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
NASA. Please do this.
Yep.
If
they should just send a third Starship to watch.
That is.
Yes.
Hey, EJ, that is if they can get the door to deploy to open.
Oh.
What's the monkey do? The monkey watches.
There's a point in the video. Oh, here's the video here. There's a point in it, so you can see this looks to be the passive ship, and this is the active ship. So the target and the chaser. It looks like the active ship has 2 QDs on it. So it looks like it is one that's kind of more flush with the aft section, and one that's more raised. That'll be the one that actually docks, so that you don't have the 2 tanks touching. You don't really want that. So deploys like a probe and drogue system, docks, and then the QD mates, and then you transfer propellant, I guess.
Man, I've seen that strut set up somewhere before, haven't I? Those 2 struts on either side of that big tank connecting the other thing to the other side. That looks familiar.
Yeah, and they move fuel through them too. That's weird.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I wonder where
there's like a ball on it and then a socket on the other one, and they sort of like go together like that, I think, to form a connection.
Old tricks are the best tricks, man. That's all I'm saying, dude.
Hey,
paint one of those things orange and we're good.
If it isn't broke, don't fix it.
It's orange.
Right?
Wait a minute, but that would mean that the instructions on the carrier aircraft are wrong. Dark side down. See, that's not a thing here.
They could update it for Starship, yeah.
Yep. Leeward side down or up or direction space.
This is just a wacky idea. It's just wacky.
So cool. I love it.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's got to be
Starship
done.
is some. Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait till it actually happens. Like I literally I can't wait till we see the hardware for docking up close. Like when the ship that has the active and passive docking hardware roll down Highway 4. I mean, Jack better be out there and taking up some Zoom pictures. You better be there. One way or the other. You better be.
Calling you out.
You better be there. It'll look amazing. I literally can't wait for them to do this because they can't get to Mars without it. So they can't really go a lot of places without doing this. This has to work, really.
Yeah. Or something. They're not like this specific animation doesn't have to work, but they have to come up with some way that they can get fuel between ships so that you end up with one full ship and one empty ship. Like whatever it is, they have to come up with a way to end up in low Earth orbit with a full ship.
Dude, you know what? You know what those arms look like on Starship? They look like Falcon Heavy arms on a center core. That's what those look like.
That could be a thing too.
It?
Yeah, the
Maybe
little strut things on the sides.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what that looks like.
This better be in daylight too. There's a lot of things they better do for this event when they do it. So, but
dude,
I feel
hear
like
Dan's voice.
This is more than a 45-minute operation, right? Like this will go in and out of daytime, and you'll have parts that are in daytime and parts that are in darkness. And maybe they'll like Polaris Dawn it, where they try to schedule operations so that they're in daytime primarily, and they start at this time and they say, you know what I mean? But I don't think you're not going to get this thing docked in like 5 minutes. You're going to get it docked over multiple orbits, I feel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and put some big like spotlights on them. Put some lights.
Yeah, yeah.
On the ship so you can light it up and so the cameras can see everything. I like that.
Yeah.
What a good dream. We'll have to wait for it to happen.
Can you imagine someday, like, somebody's on one of these things and you see another one of those things come up right next to you and it's just like, okay, it's dark. And it's like, okay. That's pretty big. That's a big, okay, it's coming towards us.
What's going to happen in future is this isn't going to be ship-to-ship docking, which, well, at least, I mean, there might be ship-to-ship docking for other things, but what you're going to do is you're going to be on board a Starship headed to Mars, and you're gonna pull up to this depot, and then you're gonna dock to this depot that's bigger than your ship, fill up with fuel, and then undock, and then do your Mars injection burn, basically.
Please,
yeah,
that's what you're gonna do.
I want to live in this future, please. Please,
yeah.
Speaking of getting to Mars, what they're gonna have to do to it to re-enter, they talked about their heat shield, how well, what was it? Yeah, Mars' atmosphere has 2 times the amount of atomic oxygen, so might be a little bit hotter. But I know the plan is they talked about they want to have the same heat shield they use on Earth to use on Mars, because when you think about it, well, you're gonna have to go from Earth to Mars, and then if you want to bring that same ship back, it needs to be able to, survive Earth reentry as well as Mars entry. So, not Mars reentry, Mars entry. You haven't,
Yeah.
but yeah. So, that's not that surprising to me, but I think an overall heat shield is going to take a while to develop. It is one of the longest lead items for this entire program. It's because they're trying to make a heat shield that you don't have to refurbish a lot, one that you can just fly again and again and again, and can withstand many different, going through multiple different atmospheres. Like, that's good luck to those engineers. Literally, good luck. That's I can't even imagine how hard that a problem that is to solve.
Like the atomic oxygen thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that corrosion would be the wrong word there? Like a chemistry thing, like atomic oxygen being broken off of the CO2 is more harsh on the heat shield than going through a nitrogen-based atmosphere like the Earth or whatever. Is that why they put that in that presentation?
Yeah, Elon talked about it. Basically, when you ionize CO2, basically CO2 turns to plasma. When it ionizes, the O2 separates and it oxidizes your heat shield. Anything that's metal is going to end up looking like the trailer. You know what I'm saying?
There must be a lot of atomic oxygen on Boca Chica Beach, man. Anyways.
There's a lot of something. There's Na and Cl and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why you need. That's why you don't want to really expose stainless when you're doing that, because even stainless will get there.
Yeah.
You put enough to it.
So a heat shield that works on Earth doesn't necessarily mean that same thing is a rapidly reusable heat shield that can go in and out of Martian atmosphere over and over, because the atmospheric composition is different, is the point.
Yep.
So we're all nodding.
The way Elon was talking about it in the presentation, dude, made it seem like that Mars entry. Now, keep in mind, this is an entry from Earth, right? So if you're coming from Earth to Mars and you aerobrake like what Curiosity or Perseverance did, right? That it's a little more intense than just a re-entry from low Earth orbit. And I believe Elon said something about using that as their kind of datum. Like, if you can design it for Mars, it'll work on Earth. Exactly. Yep. It's good stuff,
cool.
man. I mean, this is why I can't believe we're having this conversation. And SpaceX said like they're going to move stuff sooner rather than later. They're trying. And we'll learn about more of that in a second. Like, they're trying to get to the next transfer window. But the fact that that this conversation is even happening, like that it could be a plausible thing, as far-fetched as it sounds, is still amazing to me. It's just like, oh yeah, the re-entry tiles on Mars. It's a little more complicated to do that. It's like, what? Really?
Yeah.
I like. Echo Deal in chat over here. Echo Deal says it's stain less, not stain none. Let me tell you, aluminum rust. Did you know that aluminum is not actually rusting? Aluminum corrodes out here at Boca Chica Beach. You will have aluminum start to fall apart. It's so bad. So I say that all the time. I'm like, it's stain less. It's not stain proof or stain none.
Then we move on. We get to the next generation of Starship. So it's kind of funny. This slide is weird because it looks like the engine config is wrong.
Dude, that's a crazy Starship too.
Yes, I don't know what's I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what's holding up the booster here, other than like floating, like something. I don't know. The
hopes and
render's a little
dreams.
weird, but either way.
Man.
It's supposed to show a Block 3 booster sitting in the new OLM.
Ryan, it's being lowered by the chopsticks. It's being lowered by the chopsticks.
Yeah. then we get to this render, and well, it's missing the sheep cutie arm. We'll just go with that right away. We'll just put that we'll just put that to the side. none of the renders they have of the thing have the ship QDR on them, but whatever. You've got your two QDs. The one coming straight out of the gantry is liquid oxygen, and the one off the side is liquid methane. You've got the new booster with the truss hot stage, and 3 grid fins in a T. I know why they did it, but I hate it.
Dude, I'm with you. I agree with you on that one. I hate it so much.
I know why they did it, but I hate it.
I hate it so much, dude. It's so cursed.
It's so cursed.
It looks fine from this side. It looks. What are y'all talking about? It looks fine. Like,
Yeah,
whatever.
no, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good with that.
You just got to look at it from like a specific
Jay,
angle.
You want to go to the next one to show the actual. So this is the new truss section. It looks beautiful. Hey, welcome
fire.
back, N1. Welcome back.
Welcome back in
It was
one.
brought
Is
back
that a
to life.
Soyuz?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Dude. That
So
thing is
that's not
legit.
finished. I will just say it right off the bat. My guess is they're going to add shielding to that. It looks like a dome, E-dome that's welded in.
Yeah. Looks like a
think
raw
they're gonna
dome
add
with no blast shield.
I think they'll add shielding to it. There's also the fact that if you look at where that grid fin actuator is, if you were to zoom in on that area with maybe a clear view, you can see a lot of openings for stringers. There's a massive doubler plate that's going to go right at that opening, so that's not in there yet. It's missing stuff. It's not finished, but it looks amazing. Either way.
Now, fellas, I got a question.
Yeah.
Where's the top of the methane tank in this design?
That dome. So your grid fins are in your methane tank.
Yeah, the grid fins the grid fin actuators are submerged. That's what I thought. I'm like sitting
Probably
here going,
in pods. It'd be my guess it'd be an enclosed pod that goes around the motor and the gear system. But they're in the methane tank now.
No, they just put the electric motors right in the liquid methane. It's cool. Like,
yeah,
I was gonna
it
say,
cools them.
like, wait a minute.
But
It's wild, dude.
I love it. I still love it though.
Oh, it's awesome. It looks amazing. Like, guys, I know we're like on Flame Trip supposed to have like discussions here, but I'm sorry, we're all kind of swooning at this thing. Like, it's pretty cool.
I was hoping for stuff. I was hoping for some interesting stuff out of this presentation, and well, I got a lot of what I wanted out of it. You know, like this.
Yep.
I wanted to see this.
New
and
imagery.
I'm so glad we get to see it. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's not just a render. You get to see actual hardware. Like,
Yeah, it's right there.
yeah.
It's awesome.
That's
dude.
going to look nutty when that stack is assembled and it's like a bunch of Kerbal. Like, how much symmetry is that, EJ? Is that like
Struts?
8x4 symmetry? Like,
Let me count. Give me a second.
I didn't count. I've done that exact thing in Kerbal though. Like,
10 times symmetry. 2x 10 times symmetry, dude.
nice.
but
I'm just guessing. It might be.
Yeah.
with
We
this
can't do
design,
10x symmetry.
with this design, it'll help the exhaust ramp off the top of the booster a little bit better than their kind of flatter dome that they've got right now.
How are they going to close one
And it's
side of this?
definitely
I
more
wonder?
open. It's
That was
definitely
my
more-
question, dude. I had that teed up,
Yeah.
Ryan. How are you going to get the directional flip with this design?
Well,
Just
there is nothing.
Put some plates on it.
Here's the thing. I think that was
Yeah.
just an experiment. I don't think the directional flip is entirely tied to that steel plate. I think that helped it, but it's more of your knowing where it's going to go, and maybe they are going to control it better with the ship and booster this time around rather than needing that plate. But then again, it's not finished yet. It's not done. So we'll have to wait to see what this looks like fully done. Now, granted, the renders don't really show anything, but it's the renders, and the next render, it actually shows the full booster here. This is
Yeah.
this is
So,
super heavy booster.
Hold
this unit
on a
Griffin.
second, boys. A bunch of people in chat are telling me that their engine shutdown sequence on Super Heavy and then the engine start sequence on Starship during the hot staging is going to help with direction. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ryan, continue.
But we've got you looking straight on at the booster, and you only see 2 grid fins. It's just kind of. I can't stop getting it out of my head. For those of you wondering, I guess we should talk about this now. For those of you wondering why SpaceX is doing it this way. So first off, I think they're like 126 degrees apart. It's the chines on the QD side. So the chines on the QD side they changed the spacing on them a little bit. And right above those QDs is where the side grid fin is. And then you've got the port and starboard grid fins. I call them port and starboard because that's kind of in relation to the ship, because the side grid fin is on the heat shield side of the ship. So basically what they're doing, I'll grab my visual aid here, which is ignore the fact that it's a Saturn V. Just ignore the fact it's a Lego Saturn V.
What the heck?
Maybe EJ's is a little bit better.
Here,
I don't know. If EJ's a little bit better, his booster.
If we were flying,
I know what you're talking about
already.
Put me on the screen, Ryan. You narrate this. I know exactly what you're saying.
So basically, you have your chines at the bottom, and then you have your grid fin on the heat shield side, along with the 2 on the port, one on the port and one on the starboard side. Now, EJ, if you want to just grab the booster here, as it's re-entering. So as the booster is doing its re-entry, it's going to be coming down in a glide with the farther spaced apart chines, on the bottom side, along with the grid fin, the extra grid fin, I guess in this case, the 3rd, on the back side. So your 2 side grid fins, you're going to be able to control your roll, and the chines are going to help with stabilization. Your 3rd grid fin acts like your rudder. So yaw control. And you get a stabilized re-entry with 3 grid fins in a T, which means less weight, no need for another grid fin, because the other one is kind of out of the slipstream with it coming in an angle like that. So that's why they're doing it.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. As they like to delete stuff.
They do. So just for an additional bit of clarification here, this is how the grid fins are on Super Heavy. Now, they're putting one here, and one here. And that's it. A T shape instead of kind of an X. So you got 2 of them right here, and then 1 right there. And that's it. There's no grid fin on one side.
I guess it's on the bottom, right? Like when it's flying through the air, that the third wheel grid fin has to be like on the bottom so that it's in the air. Yeah, it's like in the airflow versus behind. Like if it's hidden behind the body of the booster, then it's not going to have as much control authority because it won't have as much airflow going through it, right? If the booster has any angle of attack at all.
Fluid dynamics. It'll act like a ship rudder, basically. It'll act like a rudder. It'll be able to direct the booster going like that, while the other 2 will direct it like this. And then your chines and everything else will help keep it stable. So there's no need for the one on top. There's no need for the 4th.
Yeah.
So
as long as you maintain stability and you maintain control of the booster using the grid fins you have left, and you don't roll into a situation where your 1 odd grid fin out is worthless because it's on the wrong side. But the other 2 grid fins should be able to control that attitude. Like you should be able to use those 2 to keep you in the attitude where the 3rd one is effective versus the 3rd one being in the lee of the booster body, I guess you could say, right? Where it doesn't have enough airflow to really give any control authority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, of course,
like a plane.
Then you get down to the landing burn. Once the engines ignite, the grid fins are no longer in control. It's all on the engine gimbals, and that's that. And that's their control authority for booster for ascent and then descent and catch.
That's their plan this week, boys. We'll see if their plan next week is the same. But that's their plan this week.
The same thing we do every night, Das. Try to launch the ship into orbit.
I'm gonna look in the high bay or the mega bay when I drive by, and there's gonna be one with little bat wings up there or something. They're like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. Grid fins are out, bat wings are in.
I say let them cook.
Let
So-
'em cook.
Let them cook, man.
Next up is ship. There's not much changing on it. It's pretty much staying the same. I mean, there's going to be differences, of course, because it's a new block. We've already seen some structural increases on the nose cone, things like that, but it's still the same height. I don't know why it has 50 extra tons of propellant capacity. I have no idea where they're putting that because they're not stretching it, but whatever.
Don't worry about it.
Well,
Don't worry
welcome
about
to Starbase, where everything's made up and the numbers don't matter. Like,
right. The next one is the beautiful, awesome redesigned aft of the booster. This thing
Jeez.
is amazing.
what happened?
Woof.
No more shielding. It is a completely revamped clamp design. For anyone who's seen the pictures of, I guess, B18.1, it looks like they're going to use like a metallic tile setup and stuff like that. There's a lot of cool things that are going on with this. AJ, do you notice something with the center 3 engines?
Okay, all right, I'm good. Sorry. Yeah, they're a little more spaced apart. I don't know if that's like a render problem or something, but
it is
I would
it is
assume
the design.
Okay.
They're 108, 108, and 140 instead of 120, 120, 120. They clocked them different now. So
Stability, dude. It's two engine landing capability. If I'm thinking about that right?
that is an idea, and the other part of that is with the clock change, not a single engine will directly hit the ridge cap of the flame deflector. They'll like kind of skid off. They'll kind of hit the sides. It won't hit dead on, which means less wear. So there you go on that.
Okay.
So yeah, there's reasons around it.
So guys, instead of the 3 center engines being like this, they're kind of like that. They're kind of pancaked a little bit. It's not like a perfect triangle. So if your flame deflector is proverbially below it with the engine's clock slightly different, nothing is pushing right on the apex of that flame deflector. That's smart. Yeah, dude, I love it. The little things like that are what make this so cool. Because it's like, oh, why did they do that? Oh, that's really smart. That's a really ingenious solution. Why 3 grid fins instead of 4? I hate 3 grid fins. Well, 3 grid fins makes sense for what it's doing. That's really smart. That's super. I like it, man. The small stuff
As
like
much
this
as
in
the
this
design
presentation is cool. Yeah.
But yeah, we could spend a whole bunch of time on this app, but there's still so much to even talk about. I want to get to the Mars thing because the Mars stuff is really cool. And overall, like, Jave, you just want to pull up the 9 engine chip because we finally got a render of what that looks like with R3s. It looks, and of course, it'll be 42 engines total because as Elon said, the prophecy foretold.
They're just stuffing those engines in there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hey, Jeb said add more boosters, dude. I'm pretty sure Elon understood the assignment.
But adding more boosters would be like super heavy, like 2 super heavy strapped to the side of a super heavy. Like,
I mean, can we do this or
can we do this?
Wait till the next render. They'll probably have that in the next render.
Right. The payload to orbit of this, what is it? The final payload to orbit, I think, with 9 engines is going to be 200 tons reusable. That's reusable. I think with full 42 engines on board. The low Earth orbit. I don't know about anywhere else, but yeah.
Are 6 vacuum engines useful for Mars though? Or are they just like do you need extra engines for anything beyond more mass to low Earth orbit? Like if you're already in low Earth orbit and you're just going to Mars, why take the extra engines? You're not going for super high energy trajectories, and you shouldn't need 6 or 9 engines to land on Mars, right? You shouldn't need 9 engines to land on Mars. So why?
Yeah.
Why?
My guess, dude, is to bake it into the design because, with 200 ton to LEO capacity, you're going to need a lot of TWR. So they might as well bake it into the design. But yeah, it's all about trade-offs, right? But you got to remember Starship is about low Earth orbit refilling architecture too. I think leaning into the high energy needed for like propellant stationing in low Earth orbit really had a lot to do with driving that design decision.
Yeah. I would imagine we're going to end up seeing different variants where they don't all have to have 6 vacuum engines. Like some of them could just be 3 and 3 or whatever, and then some of them like tankers or higher payloads or whatever. I wonder if it makes more sense to standardize that, or if it makes more sense to save on the engines when you don't really need them to be ferrying to and from Mars. Right. I'm curious if we'll see all Starship standardized or if we'll see Starship specialization. Right.
I could see it.
We have to talk about Mars still. How much time do we have here? We still need to talk about the Mars slides.
Yeah, I know. We got a lot.
Don't
We
we?
still got a lot to talk about.
We gotta go.
Never mind that. I got a support queue to keep up.
So,
Just
Oh, we do have a support queue too. Jeez.
I might want to pop through that real quick.
Do it, EJ. Yeah, go for it.
Just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I would.
Speed run.
All right. Speed run time. Okay. All right, let's do this. So Wilbo Backens with a 2 pound super chat. Love Space Pope. Yeah, we all do, man. Space Pope, bless this trench.
Yeah.
Jay, play the noise. Play the noise. All right, cool. All right, so we have Arvale here. Today marks my 5-year anniversary of watching rocket launches. Thanks for all the awesome coverage. Here's to the next 5. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing it with us, bud. It's a good time. We like to have fun in here. All right, so we got John M. John M. will rep these Hawaiian shirts at KSC ML2 until October 1st at the very least. Dude,
Nice.
please do that. Please do that. That's awesome. All right, so what else do we got here? All right, let's see. This is an anonymous store message. Had to get the Jinx patch to keep my flight collection complete. Okay.
Oh, no.
All right.
The shrug patch, not the Jinx patch, the shrug patch.
Oh, no. All right, we got Eleanor with 4 pounds. TFT Fridays are the best night of the week. Of course. Love sharing Fridays with you guys. It's the best. It's the best. Let's go. All right. And then we got Eleanor also gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you very much for that. And then we have Steve Kalvik, the man, the myth, the legend, with a $10 super chat. Did anyone else notice apparent leaking burning on Starship between the engines? It eventually stopped prior to losing control. Yeah, it stopped because they leaked all the propellant, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Steve, that happened. Raptors have some weeping problems right now. We can talk more about that in a second, though.
Weeping
all right, so we got
problems.
Evan C.
Nice.
Weeping. Yeah, they're still my Raptor. Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I can't do that. Gently weeps. Sorry, I had to finish it. we got a $50 super chat from Evan C. right there. I know that their budget was a limiting factor on NASA's selection for an HLS partner, but do you think that they might be regretting their choice to go with SpaceX after how the past 3 launches have gone?
Regretting probably isn't the right term.
Yeah. Fellas, how would you say it?
I wouldn't even.
Brian?
I wouldn't say even regretting. I wouldn't even say regretting at all. I don't even know if it's even concerned. They know it's a development program. They know they're going to have problems. I could be concerns. But I wouldn't say.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, so we got Per Christian becoming a Pad Rat member right there. We got Joseph with a storm message. Go SpaceX, go NSF, go Rocket Ranch. All right, yeah.
Nice.
There you go, good stuff. And then we got Craig with a storm message. Let's go to Mars, in parentheses.
To Mars.
And then we got I'd rather be flying an X-Wing. $2 super chat. They'll control the flip with canards. Obviously, get out. Get out. Now. Now. Get out.
That's 2 presentations from now. They'll be cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, that's right.
Well, I guess we
Okay.
can just go to the ambitious plan that SpaceX has here.
Yes.
So I mean, I'll just kind of run through it real quick. 2026, 5 landers, 10 tons apiece. My guess is that is literally get 1 or 2 ships to refuel it a little bit and just eat it, send it if they can make that. Which is that is probably the window I have the most. We'll see. I think that gets pushed a transfer window, and then 28, 29. They want to do more landers, 75 tons per payload per ship. Get some prep the landing areas, deliver equipment for people, confirm resource viability, a lot of other stuff. either that happens in the same window that they first try it, or that gets pushed a window as well. I look a lot of these and I go, I think it gets pushed at least a window over.
Yeah.
20, 30, 31, they want to build roads and pads, habitat construction, power generation, resource mining, and propellant production. Want to send 100 landers. I mean, we'll see. And then 2033 is 500 landers, 300 tons per ship, which my guess is that really stretched one, which is 142 meter tall ship. That's the future version of ship that was shown in that that table earlier. Increase independence from Earth. That's a lot. Global mobility. I'm guessing that's global Mars mobility. Like
like moving all over Mars.
Yeah. Mining resources, and then I guess Starlink constellation on Earth. Like, I look at this and I go, okay, if they can get refueling done early next year, then maybe they can send some ships during the 26 window, which I think is what, end of 26. I'm trying to remember exactly what 26 the window is, but maybe they can send ships then. The 28-29 window, I can see 20 landers happening in that, and the reason why I say that is because you look at the pads they have, the pads they plan to build, the gigabays they plan to build, and the star factories they plan to build. By the 28-29 window, so you're talking end of 2028, they could have 5 pads, 2 gigabays, and 2 star factories all up and running.
Yeah.
I think that's somewhat possible, actually.
Am I detecting optimism from Ryan?
I told you guys that there might be optimism out of me today. I told you guys. I forgot to alert Jay. Oops. Anyways, we didn't really have time to do it anyways. And the 2030-31 window, I mean, building pads, that kind of stuff, sure. Maybe. The biggest question mark I have is the 2033 window. You think you're going to really increase your independence from Earth that much that quickly? I think that one's more pushed out to like the 2040s, 50s, like real true independence, like increasing that. I think that one's like pushed out to there. The 28-29 window is, if things go right, which there's a lot of problems they still have to solve. They have to solve heat shield. They have to solve propellant transfer. They have to solve. They still have to do their pad refurbishment thing, and they're just now building their second generation pad. So they have to fly out of it and understand it better, and then build all the other pads. Maybe. I guess I'll let you guys talk about it too, but I think it's a maybe on that. I don't know. I'm not really sure about 2026 window. We'll just put it that way.
I'm not even really willing to worry too much about everything beyond the first window. Like, look, let's hit the first window and let's get the first ships going, and then we'll talk about the rest of the stuff. It's good to have the whole plan and show an understanding of the things that need to be done and like why you're doing it and why you're trying to get to it. But you don't even have a ship that can survive in orbit yet, and we're talking about sending tens or hundreds of ships all to Mars. I am more like one step at a time. Like, let's get that done, and then we'll wonder about other steps are realistic or not. Can they send something in 2026? I'm sure they could. They could launch it from the pad, and how far towards Mars will it get? Will it get into low Earth orbit? Will it live in low Earth orbit long enough to get refueled? Will it get refueled and then do a trans-Martian intercept burn or whatever? Will it coast all the way to Mars and then make it? Will it enter at Mars? Can it do a braking burn? Like all those other highly complicated things. We need to get a ship in orbit first, right? So that's my thing. I don't know, EJ, how do you feel about aspirational dates pulled out of the hat?
Boys, I'm kind of with you. On this one. I know. I think if anybody has the chops to do it, it's SpaceX. Like, they can do it. I mean, in the past, we have, I'll play devil's advocate here for a second. In the past, we've heard them say like, oh yeah, we're going to go to Mars. We're going to go to Mars in this year. We're going to go to Mars in this year. We've never seen them lay out what they're going to do in each transfer window before. So this is more information from them regarding how they're going to go to Mars as far as I'm concerned. I think it's a step in the right direction, if not an ambitious schedule, right? But
yep,
you know, I just want to kind of take a step back here and just say, like, it's amazing we're even talking about this. Like, do you guys see some of the milestones on this schedule? The fact that this is even possibly in our future in the next 5 years, let alone the next 10 or anything like that, is absurd to me. Like, Das, do you remember like 15 years ago when we were like, okay, maybe the next launch is in like 5 years or something? Like,
yeah.
Look at all this. I mean, there's no doubt here that we have to. How many Starships you need to launch to prove out all the technology just to hit that first transfer window? This is a freaking gold
Well, how
mine
much
of launches.
fuel do you need to make in order to
Right.
fill those Starships up? Like, can we even make that much fuel yet? It's like if you build it, they will come, maybe. But geez,
Maybe
yeah,
we need
we are running
LNG
out of
terminal
time
next to our
here.
launch site. Yeah, we are.
I think I will
would-
leave this. Sorry.
Do we have any
Go ahead,
slides?
Joss. I
Any
was
slides
gonna-
we missed that we got to hit real fast?
Oh, there's a ton of them. But I was gonna say leaving the whole Mars thing with under the 2026. Prove we can get to Mars. It's that line. Gotta get there first. Yeah.
There you go.
Dude. You know, I see people
All
saying,
right, thanks
you
for
know,
watching.
in the chat,
I mean,
like,
where
oh,
are we going? Like,
what if they go to the moon, right? Yeah, I know, we got to go. I think they can go to the moon while they're doing all this. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this Flame Trench. Das, thank you
Wait,
very much for
we didn't even
coming
talk
and
about the
tuning in with us
test
from your
BMT.
truck. Wait,
we didn't show the test
yeah, we
BMT
did.
on Mars.
Show the space
Show it,
SBMT,
Jay.
please.
Show it.
Show it.
Oh, we don't have time. I
I'll
don't know if
save
we
the
have time.
outros for
I don't know if
later.
I Clyde.
I wanted to see
The
it
test
too.
BMT on Mars.
Second to last.
I don't know what
Jake.
slide it is.
Second to last.
Y'all,
There.
we're gonna
What a
cover
train wreck.
more of this in Starbase Update. Like, this was our free-form initial talk. Yeah, the test BMT, nice. This was our free-form discussion of all the different stuff. We have a way more structured discussion coming up on Monday in Starbase Update. That's going to be a thing. And then after this, we have a video coming out right after this, don't we? Who's in charge here?
You seem to have taken the reins. I'm just kind of here, boss. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to hand it back to you. Like,
All right. I'm here.
I'm on
I'm here. Also,
Starlink.
that
I may
picture of
disappoint-
Optimus on Mars. We've never seen that before. All right, Das, thank you for showing up from your truck. I appreciate it. You are the kite pilot extraordinaire. Thank you for coming.
good deal. Always a good time. Next.
And Ryan, you're the man.
Bye.
Thank you for your insight. Hearing you talk about CFM 56s was really awesome. Okay, cool. Say goodbye now.
Bye, everyone.
I am EJ, your host. Thanks for coming in, joining us on your Friday night. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next week.
Stick around for This Week in Spaceflight. That's why we have to end, because This Week in Spaceflight is coming out like right now. Yeah. Don't go
Let's
anywhere.
get into it, man.
But you didn't say it. You said bye.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, Atlantis.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
Nothing to be exciting and clear.